Welcome to Sportsbet Daily at oddsmarket.com. There's going to be smiles for the next half an hour as we go to the US Open final at Flushing Meadow for the women. And she did it. Bianca, she did it. Bianca Andreescu to everyone else, but to us, myself, James and Snize. Bianca did it, boys.
Yeah.
Snize, how happy are you?
Snize.
How happy are you?
I'm very happy. I'd want one of those memes where it's like everything is just as I have foreseen. This is what I've been talking about the entire tournament. I've been racing Bianca to the roof. Took her pre-tournament on pretty much every single imaginable market, sitting on her at 17 to win the entire thing. And yeah, I have no reason to not feel good about her chances here. I think that she has a great chance to win everything.
Well, I have actually asked a few friends if we can get Bianca to send us a message thanking Snize and James for their support all the way through. As of yet, nothing. But if it does come through, I'll make sure that I pass it on, lads. Is it going to be one step too far, though? She plays Serena. We said yesterday that Serena's hitting 98% of her shots right out the middle of the strings. And, well, Svitolina, she ran into a runaway train. James, I'll start with you. We've got Serena at 1.33. We've got Bianca at 3.2. Can you go against Serena in the way she's hitting that ball?
Yes. I think for me, this is obviously Snize had a great tip, as he mentioned, from the start of the tournament on Bianca at 17. But anyone who's not on that already, so isn't already cheering on Bianca, I can't fault them for taking this price. I mean, we're getting 3.4, I can see here being offered at Bet365 on a player who, as Snize pointed out last week, hasn't lost a match since March. And again, played really, really well yesterday against Bencic. It was a very, as expected, very competitive affair. Very, very kind of, she's a very tactically minded player. And you could see it was a very chess kind of game with Bencic. They were trying to figure each other out, trying to figure out exactly how much to go for, because they both have the ability to hit through the ball as well as take a bit of time away, as well as try something different. I saw Andreescu bringing her up the court a lot more, trying to coax the errors. And again, I think we're going to see a lot of that with Serena. We didn't see a lot of the match between Serena and Bianca in Toronto because Serena retired. But immediately Andreescu was able to pull her out of her comfort zone. And you feel like Serena's played very well this week. I said yesterday, or when we did the last show, I said that I wasn't really feeling like opposing Serena, even though I felt like Svitolina was perhaps a decent price. I just didn't have the feel. And I think that changes slightly with Andreescu, because I know that she will take her out of her comfort zone. She is going to make Serena really play her best here to win this. And to be honest, I just thought this was about a 60-40 situation, maybe something like that. And we can get 3.4. So not much more to it than that. I mean, that implies she's got a 28% chance. I'm pretty confident she's got more than a 28% chance personally. So,
Snize, if you hadn't backed her beforehand, would you back her in the final at 3.4? And the other thing is your biggest worry the nerves?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would back her again if I hadn't taken her pre-tournament. Again, it's just she looks like she cannot lose a tennis match at the moment. She looks absolutely unbeatable on court. She's only 19 years old, yet she's undefeated since March. She is now moved up to 8-0 against top 10 players after defeating Bencic last night. She's 12-0 in deciding sets. And her mental fortitude, nerves won't be a problem because her mental fortitude is on another planet. I'd say she competes better than almost any other player on tour, and she's only 19 years old, so it's absolutely incredible. She's a natural problem solver, and she just seems to relish these opportunities when she is down, when the going gets tough. Bianca gets going. She was down both 1-4 and 2-5 in the second set. Her second serve and first serve started to go astray. Bencic started to gather some momentum, pressure her, and we thought, oh, this is going 3 sets now. But no. She said in her interview, quote, "I think when I'm down, I play my best tennis. Whenever my back is against the wall, I think I'm just extra focused in those moments. I remember I told myself at 5-2 that I didn't want to go in 3 sets. So I think I just switched my mindset. I was just really, really focused. And that just really exemplifies the way that Bianca plays. Even when it looks like it's all over for her, she just finds a way through. And that's absolutely admirable. I think I'd say it's actually the opposite. Serena Williams has all the pressure on her, and Andreescu can play with freedom because she has nothing to lose here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really buy into that because I feel as if like the first one's always the hardest to win. Excuse me. Yes, Serena's obviously got so much on the line, but I'm hearing back in Canada they're calling this the most important tennis match in the history of the game for that nation. Now, I also look and think, Bianca's had 25 games yesterday. Serena breezed through. Are you not worried that there's going to be a bit of fatigue for Bianca?
No. I mean, if we look at her tournaments in both Indian Wells, where she won the title, and Toronto, where she won the title, she was playing a lot of free setters, actually more free setters than she played in this tournament. And she looked injured in those tournaments too. On Indian Wells, she was hobbling noticeably in between points. She was, touching her shoulder, touching her thighs. She was looking really, really physically hampered out there, yet still find a way to battle through injury and find the win. She's one of the fittest players on tour, and though injuries are a concern for her in already in these early stages of her career, she's not one that will physically break down. She's not one that will feel the fatigue as many other players do. I don't think that fatigue is a concern.
One thing I'd want to bring out as well, Flash, is I think you're right in the sense that I don't think she's not going to have nerves. I think obviously a lot of it is about how you deal with the nerves. What when you start to go off, how do you respond to that? And I think, as Snize mentioned, she's one of the best at that. But there's also, and we've seen this with Medvedev as well, there is, at least to some degree, a bit of an invulnerability with the younger players sometimes, in the sense that they have no fear, and Andreescu's got no reason to have that yet. She hasn't lost to any of the top players yet. So
no, I agree with you, James. I agree with you because I mean, obviously coming from a sporting background, I love the fact that nerves take a hold and use them in the right way. I mean, nerves, for me, they always focus the mind. And you talk about fear. I think there's a bigger fear of winning than there is a bigger fear of losing. So I agree with you. I think that her fear is that she doesn't win, not that she doesn't lose. So, I mean, I'm all with her. I'm cheering her. There's other value markets, though. I mean, total games, James, I'll let it at you. Under 20.5 at 2 or over 20.5 at 1.75. Either of them two markets make appeal?
Yeah, so I think in general, there's a couple of key factors for me with over markets, the total games markets. The first one, obviously, is that you want players who are generally serve orientated. Otherwise, you're going to tend to have better markets to choose. So we've got Serena. She's definitely serve orientated compared to other guys in the top 20. I would say Andreescu's not particularly serve orientated at all. So the thing about that matchup for me is I think it's probably not a bad bet, but that's because I think betting on the match going long is probably a good shout. For me, the one that stands out is over sets, so over 2.5 sets at 2.63. I think that's much closer to 2.2, 2.1, because I doubt that either of these two players is actively likely to win in straight sets. It feels like if Andreescu gets behind, she's going to fight, and if Serena gets behind, well, she might retire, but she is also likely to fight. She's going to have at least some type of surge in this match at some point, given the way she's been playing. So yeah, I think over 20.5 is fine. I just prefer the over sets bet instead.
Okay, Snize, we're all sitting in the old Bianca camp. She's the dog, okay, and obviously in the nicest form of being a dog, only in price-wise. I've got Bianca plus 4.5 games at 1.75. Now, if we think she's going to win, or we think she's got an unbelievable chance of winning, and we think it's going long, Giving Bianca 4 games, surely that's great value.
The thing is, when you face Serena Williams, with many players, is that they can become frozen. They can become terrified, and just facing the sheer might and overwhelming power that is Serena Williams, you know that you're going to have an extremely tough time breaking her, and she'll impose herself in every single service game. So we've seen many players break down under that pressure. For example, Elina Svitolina started really well and had a lot of chances actually to get ahead in the first set, but she couldn't take them, and she looked really mentally gone from there because just the pressure was just ramping up, and at the end she just froze up. I don't think Andreescu has these issues, though. As I've said, she doesn't fear Serena as many others do. Of course, she respects her, but she doesn't fear her, and that showed really in those 4 games she played against Serena in the Rogers Cup final. Told me a lot. She went ahead 3-1 in a break-up, and she's really just, as James said, going to push her out of her comfort zone. So I think either backing Bianca to win a set or Bianca to win or plus 4.5 games both appeal to me. Yeah.
Okay, James,
So
I'm going to put another one
you
up.
can get plus 4.5 at 1.8. Just sorry to mention with that market, you can get it at 1.8 with Bet365, which I think is a good bet.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. We're all thinking Bianca's great value to actually go and win the whole thing. But if she was to get beat tie-break, you're still backing a winner. Now, also going along these lines, first set games under 9.5, 1.75, over 9.5 at 2.1. Now, if we think the nerves might get the better of her in the early stages, and remember that Serena's petrol gauge gets lower. So, I mean, if you're going to go for like maybe a 6-2 or a 6-3 in the first from Serena, then this is applicable as well. Snize.
Yeah, just looking a bit at the previous finals in the US Open and for Serena as well. So in the last 9 US Open finals, good to keep in note, the average games have been 17.33. 6 of them have been decided in straight sets. Serena's last 6 finals have all been decided in straight sets, and if we look at the 3 latest ones, all of them have gone under the 9.5 games. And what we've seen in these major finals is that Serena has been paralyzed. Since coming back from maternity leave, her nerves have failed her at the most crucial moments. She hasn't been able to find her serve. Errors have been everywhere, and the opponent has capitalized brilliantly. So Williams hasn't won a set in her last 3 finals. She's been demolished. The best set she had was a 6-4 loss. So I would have to say that either some nerves do get to Andreescu, although I don't think they will, or Serena Williams, I actually think, is the more likely one to feel the nerves in her home slam, considering last year's debacle and everything with Osaka as well, to feel the nerves. So I definitely feel that someone is going to have a tough time in the start of this match, and definitely would lean under in the first set.
James, the big thing I say is that since her maternity leave, she's had the baby, she's come back. I've not seen her hit the ball as well as she's hit it in these championships. I mean, smooth, powerful. Now, but I also agree that no one's really run her around a bit because she's actually just executing the shots to probably only Bianca is up there with her on ball striking alone. Now, I look and I think Andreescu, just to win a set at 2, and we think that she could possibly go and win it, that has got to entice us to get involved. James?
Yeah, so 2, I did not realize it was 2. Is that, so I mean, it's 1.95 with Pinnacle. I mean, that's phenomenal, I think, really. Yeah, I don't think she's very likely at all to lose in straight. Same idea with the plus 4.5 games. Of course, that could land with something like 6-4, 6-4 or 7-6, 6-3. But yeah, I mean, I think she's very, very likely to win a set. The key, so there's 2 things with Serena that I think Andreescu is particularly going to be good at exploiting. The first one is really about Williams' general ability to move around the court well. She's looking relatively big. She's never been a small tennis player, but her game is based around hitting people off the court. She's not the most nimble mover And again, this week, when players have been able to move her around, as Snize said, Svitolina had good chances at the start of the match yesterday. And there's no reason to think that failed for anything other than kind of just one of those things. Svitolina just wasn't able to keep it together in the end. But yeah, certainly, I think the basic point we're making here is virtually all of the markets which lean on Andreescu are looking good. I would be less inclined to go with something like over a 20.5 or even total sets. I mean, I suggested 3 sets. I do think that's a good bet, but it's interesting. Snize points out the amount of matches that have been decided in straight sets, which does imply that basically one person tends to raise to the occasion and the other one doesn't. So I think if you're going to bet on anything, probably just taking something quite ambitious, maybe even 2 love to Andreescu, which is 6. You know, that seems like a good bet. That seems like a good approach.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. We've only got 24 hours to wait until the big one. You've been waiting all your life for this, I think, Snize. Give me your best bet out of the ones we've mentioned.
All right, so as you already know, I'm extremely high on Andreescu. I have a long article that's going to come up on Odds Market detailing my first selection, and even though I have an outright, I don't really care. It's half a unit. I think this price is absolutely brilliant on Andreescu. Looking at him just statistically even, Andreescu is ahead, and most people don't realize this. Obviously, Serena is priced on her legacy and her fantastic accolades throughout her career, but just looking at it from a statistical standpoint, they're dead even in hold break, and Andreescu has better hardcourt ELO. So just on that alone, this is almost as close of a 50-50 matchup as you can get. So my first bet is Andreescu to win the match at 3.40 with bet 65. So I have a unit and a half. As we've discussed here on the show, all of the markets that back Andreescu in some way are markets that I really love in this matchup. I've also gone ahead and bet on Andreescu to win 2-0. Have half a unit on that at 560. I've also gone ahead and backed Andreescu plus the 4.5 games at 180 with bet 65 for a unit and a half. So I think that at worst, we'll see Andreescu really, really, really compete. I cannot see her succumbing to the occasion or going down without a fight. She will take a set or push Serena really hard, but I think it's just more likely that she just storms out of the gate. She fears no one, as we saw in that Rogers Cup final. Storms to the first set, and from there on, I think Serena's fight against her own mental ghosts will take over. So yeah, all in on Andreescu for sure.
James, all in on on Bianca.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Can't really say it better. I think it's difficult to look beyond the match odds. Maybe the 2 love makes more sense based on the US Open finals, but I do think this is, from watching them this week and from the longer term trends of these 2 players, I think it's likely to go over. I mean, just to contrast with Snize, I'm going to go for, I think the win is the best bet, but I'm going to go for over 2.5 sets at 2.62 with Bet365 and just take a chance that the trends at the US Open are not going to play a huge part in this match.
Okay, and Bianca to win a set at 2, I think, is just unbelievable value. Lads, enjoy the final, and I'm sure we're going to speak soon, maybe tomorrow with the men.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, you go well.
Thanks for having us.
No worries, Snize, anytime. Thanks, James.
Cheers, thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.
Okay, now, 100th season of the NFL, 50th year in the modern era. Last night, Soldier Field, Chicago Bears hosted the Green Bay Packers. If you love your defensive football, it was an absolute cracker. 10-3 to the visitors. Green Bay got themselves the W. Chicago looked like unbelievable defense. They looked like they're the real deal on the D. Offense needs some work. I've got the sporting keg. Jason, you're going to join me?
What's up, brother?
Hey, how excited am I for the NFL, by the way? Honestly, you don't realise how much you've missed it until that first ball gets kicked.
I know. It's amazing. It feels like 5 years when you have to wait those 6 months, but it's finally here, and I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Okay, before we go into like sort of different selections, and I'll have some as well, and I'll have some views. Any futures, any sort of further down the road where you feel as if the value's now?
Well, the team that I loved the most was the Indianapolis Colts. And Andrew Luck decides to retire at 30 years old. And I was sitting on the Colts at 19-1 to win the Super Bowl. I was sitting on them at plus 160 to win the division and go over their 9.5 season win total. So that's out the window now. The team that I like the most in the NFC going into the year is probably the Philadelphia Eagles. I like them. I like them a lot. And I think there's value in taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win their division because the hype around the Cleveland Browns is insane.
But what
It's
about the
too
Ravens?
much.
What about the Ravens? They're 4 to win their division. They're 16 to win the conference and 34 to win the Super Bowl. Surely the Ravens, I've got Steelers coming bottom.
Yeah, I like the Ravens defense. I think it's phenomenal. And the Ravens season entirely hinges on Lamar Jackson. He was able to run the ball at will, right? He got touchdowns. He got first downs and touchdowns on his feet. But now the defenses around the league, they've seen him for 10 games.
Yeah.
So they're going to make him beat them through the air. And it's just a question of, is he an accurate enough thrower to be able to make the plays to win football games? Because they're going to make him throw the ball. But I agree with you. Pittsburgh to win the division at plus 170 is a steal.
But that means you're going to go against the Ravens at like plus 300.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are capable of winning their division. But Pittsburgh, I don't think they're going to miss Le'Veon Bell and Brown that much. I think Connor and Schuster will fill the role. Big Ben threw for almost 5,000 yards last year. The defense is good enough. I think anybody in that division, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore, are all capable of winning the division. If everything goes right for Cleveland, could they win 10 games? I guess. I have to see them go 500 first before I say they're going to win 10 games, but it's possible. And Baltimore and Pittsburgh are both capable of winning the division.
What did you think of it?
It's a tough call.
Jace, let's just rewind 24 hours. What did you think of last night's showdown between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers?
What surprised me the most in that game was Green Bay's defense. Last year, their secondary was horrible, and they looked really solid as a unit last night. I don't like Mitch Trubisky. I picked the Bears to regress. I picked them under 9.5 wins. I'm not a fan of them, and he looked terrible.
He wants all day.
He looked terrible.
He
looked terrible.
He wants all day. He wants a written invitation. He looks like he's like a cat in the headlights. But on the other side of the ball, you look at Chicago D, and the pace of them is scary. And they're the only ones that are going to actually keep them in low-scoring games. The other thing I noticed with Green Bay, and he was very cute, Aaron Rodgers, was that they're so quick, they're so fast, the Chicago defence, that they just went after stopping the run. And the amount of times that Rodgers rolled out, I think that other teams are going to try and do that. They're going to fake the run, roll out, and hit that secondary, because that secondary is nowhere near on par with that front line.
Flash, the Chicago Bears defense is special. Like, they're not just a good defense. They remind me, this team is an exact replica of the 2009-2010 New York Jets. They went to back-to-back AFC championships because of their defense. The quarterback was not good, just like I don't believe Trubisky is good, and the defense carried the day. That's why they won 12 games last year, and I just don't see them doing it again this year. And the coach, I mean, they drafted a kid in David Montgomery who was phenomenal at Iowa State, an incredible running back. The kid got less than 10 touches.
Yeah.
He should be their starting quarterback. I like Matt Nagy, but I was not impressed with him last night as a coach at all.
No,
but my number one takeaway from the game is the Green Bay Packers defense has improved.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And we were happy to have Green Bay at money line, and we was happy to go 46.5 unders after 2 possessions of the game. Okay, let's crack on. Let's put some meat on the bone. Let's start the Jags against the Chiefs. I've got to play on this. I'll wait for yours.
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent, but he's not going to throw for 50 touchdowns every year, okay? That's why every sports book in the United States set his touchdown total at 36. So we're going to see some regression on Patrick Mahomes only because he had one of the best seasons that a quarterback has ever had in the history of the NFL. And he was a rookie, right? They lose a huge piece in Kareem Hunt, who was a top 5 running back. Their defense improved slightly in free agency. So I think it's going to take the sports books a few weeks to adjust the totals in the Chiefs games. That's why I took the under in the first total of the year. 52 points is a lot of points for a total in week 1. Add the fact that they're playing a Jacksonville Jaguar team that's projected to be number 1 in DVOA in the league this year. For people that don't know that, it's a defensive analytics stat. It stands for defense adjusted value over average. Long story short, they're projected to be the number 1 defense in football over the Chicago Bears.
They're going to need, but they're going to need to be with that offense.
Yeah, go ahead. What?
They're going to need to be with that offense in front of them.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, Kansas City's offense is incredible. But the Jaguars' offense has improved, right? They let go of Blake Bortles. They pick up Nick Foles from Philadelphia. But what Nick Foles did on the Eagles, even though it was spectacular, the 2 things he doesn't have is that Eagles offensive line and Doug Peterson as a coach. The majority of that success was Peterson's system more than Nick Foles' skills. Add in the fact that it's going to be 100 degrees at kickoff. The game screams under to me, Flash. So I took under 52.
So, I mean, listen, the line's still there at 51.5 anyway, or 51.5. I've already played on this. I've gone Kansas City -3.5, and that's two ways. Mahomes is the real deal. I think that he's a broken play quarterback, that you're just in as much danger if you get him out of the pocket as he is when he's in it. And it goes against the Jags offense of putting more points on the board. I think Kansas City -3.5 is a massive value play in week 1. But I can definitely see 51.5 under being the right play, because with 51 points, you need both sides to contribute high on the scoreboard.
Right.
I don't see that with the Jags. And the other thing is with Kansas, I think they might get themselves in front, and then the clock will beat the Jags to death, and they'll just run the ball. So for me, I'm with you all the way. Kansas -3.5 and total points 51.5 under. Let's go to the unluckiest side last year, New Orleans Saints. -7 against the Houston Texans, +7, 1.9 each. Where's your play?
I mean, last season the Saints were one play away, one bad call away from making the Super Bowl, right?
Rule
They're
changing,
still a
Jace.
solid squad. They have the majority of their... What's that?
It was rule changing because of what happened last year. They've now given the coaches the opportunity to obviously challenge pass interference. I mean, it was that big of calamity that now they've had to go to the rule book and give the coaches a chance.
Yeah, I completely agree. They should have been in the Super Bowl. That they have the majority of their starters returning. As the season progresses, though, they become a stronger team. The reason I say that is because the New Orleans Saints are notorious slow starters. Last season, they started 10-1, okay? But that's not the norm for Sean Payton and Drew Brees. That's the exception to the rule. 4 out of the last 5 years, they've started no better than 2-2 through the first 4 games. 3 of those years, they started 1-3. Those 3 out of those 5 years. They opened the 2019 season with a tough game against a Houston Texans team that won 9 in a row last year. They made the playoffs. They finally have their franchise quarterback healthy in Deshaun Watson. And one of the best football analytic algorithms has them projected to have the 3rd best defense in the league this year. So this screams letdown spot for me in week 1. I could be wrong. The Saints could be locked in from the start of the year. But based on how Sean Payton and Drew Brees have started seasons the last 6 years, you're going to lay a touchdown? I just don't see it. I took Houston plus the 7 points.
Wow. You're thinking about one of the hungriest teams to right the wrongs of last year at home. Yeah, it's a tough spot, but obviously you've got the value. And I am with you, though, because I always like the Dogs in week 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 getting a touchdown at the very, very least. So you've gone with the Texans. What about this one then? America's All-Star team, Dallas Cowboys, -7.5 against the New York Giants, getting 7.5. Total points, 45.5. Where's your play, Jace?
Well, what I like to do early, Flash, in the first, second, third week, I like to bet teasers, right? We call them teasers in the United States, but they're really like alternative spread accumulators for Europe, right?
Yeah.
So 7 points is a fair line for the Dallas Cowboys. They are 4 levels above the New York Giants, okay? The
Do they put
only
enough
reason
points on
I
the board,
didn't.
though, Jace? Do they put enough
What's that?
points on the board?
Oh yeah. Especially against this Giants defense. Oh yeah. The Giants defense, the only player they had last year was Landon Collins, and he's gone. He's on Washington now. They have a good enough quarterback in Dak Prescott. They have one of the best running backs in the league in Ezekiel Elliott.
Will he be ready?
They picked up.
Will he be ready,
What?
though?
Oh, yeah. They said he'll get between 20 and 25 touches, I read.
He's had no pre-season, though, has he?
No, he has not played at all, no.
So is he fresh, or will he tire? Will fatigue kick in early? It's going to be interesting to watch how that story develops. Because if he runs for 2025, then they could put any number on the board.
Well, he just signed the biggest contract in the history for running back, so he better be able to run, okay? They picked up a great wide receiver mid-season last year, and Amari Cooper. I think, and their defense is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm happy
and
with
they
it,
have
D.
the best. They have the best offensive line in football, Flash. The Giants have nothing except Saquon Barkley, their running back. I think they'll cover the 7.5, right? But what I bet was I teased them from 7-1, and I threw the Baltimore Ravens in there to kill Miami. Miami is the last team in my power rankings. They're the worst team in football, in my opinion. So I parlayed Dallas and the Baltimore Ravens and teased them down from 6-1. That's what I did. And it'll pay out 2.0.
Yeah, love that. I mean, I've got double with Oregon and Auburn under, a parlay, with Baltimore -5, which I'm obviously very happy with. I'm going to go probably in with Baltimore again. I just see them giving up I'll be happy 7, 8, 9. I'm going to have them in play as well. I mean, I just think that I'm going to beat up on Miami as often as I possibly can. And the other thing is with Miami, I hope they go up in some games and the books are just thinking this is their day, and then I'll steam and beat them up again because I'm not having Miami.
Exactly. You're gonna want to do that, Flash, against Miami, the Redskins, the Raiders, and
I don't like the Titans.
Cardinals.
I don't like the Titans neither.
Neither did I. I wrote an article under 8.5 wins.
Yeah.
I don't like the Titans at all.
Go Cash. Go Cash. They haven't got 8.5 wins in them. They're jack of all, master of none. They pretend to be a team for me.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Well, let's move on to two potentially good side. One could be anything, and one is definitely on the up. We're going to go Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton, does he do it? Is he fit? Who knows? Against the LA Rams, who were last year's surprise package, putting up 30, 40, 50 points per week. Where's your angle here, Jace?
Another alternative spread accumulator. Okay, I always take home teams that are plus 2.5. I'll tease them right through 7 up to 8.5. Right, because it's 6 points that you move the line. So I think the play is you either lay the 2.5 with the Rams or you tease the Panthers with a team like Baltimore or a team like Dallas. That's exactly what I did. I teased them up to plus 8.5, and I did the same thing with Dallas from -7 to -1. They're an average team, Flash. I think I have them like number 17 in my power ratings. There's nothing special about them. I don't really like anything about the Panthers at all. What concerns me about the Rams, though, is I don't know what happens to them if Todd Gurley is not healthy at running back. They have the best defensive player in football, okay? Aaron Donald is a monster. Best in the world at his position, okay? They do get Cooper Kupp back. That slot receiver was huge for Jared Goff last year. He went down with an injury. He misses half the year, and the offense was never the same. So in the Panthers game, you either leave it alone or you tease them up to 8.5. If you're looking to bet the Rams, if you want to lay the 2.5, I guess you could. You know what I mean?
Jay,
but I think the game might be competitive.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a competitive game, but the one line that screams at me is the unders. It's at 50. And then we're talking about two teams that need to put big figures on the board. To get to 50, we're going to need a 31-20 or a 28. Unders. 50 with these two sides. I think that Cam Newton's not ready yet. I mean,
I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all.
He bowed out.
Because 28-21, you're still under the number.
Exactly. I mean, I just think it screams Carolina Panthers, LA Rams, under 50. Under. And I'd expect it to maybe they'll move it to 49, maybe 48.5 come Sunday. So for me, that was just a scream of being under. I think I got under 51 or under 50.5 or 50.5.
I like that. Your only concern in that game is you don't want to see the Rams score 35.
No,
you know what I mean?
But even so, if I see the Rams score 35, I'm saying, are the Panthers going to put on 17? I just don't know about the Panthers. I just don't trust that they've got what it takes. And also, I think with the Rams and a lot of these sides, especially away from home, it's all about the W. It's all about getting in front and then killing that clock and making sure that the opposition haven't got a time. And I always say it's like a boa constrictor. You squeeze them, and that's what the problem that people have when they go to Foxborough this year with go and face New England is that it's not Belichick, it's not Brady, it's not the running backs. It'll be the clock. They'll get in front and they'll force you into mistakes because you're not going to have long enough to get back into the game. Right, let's go to the one we've touched on. Miami Dolphins, 6.5. giving up 6.5 against Baltimore Ravens, 6.5. 1.86 Baltimore. Miami Dolphins, 1.95. And the total is 39.5. Jace, is it just straight Baltimore win?
Yes. Yeah, it is. If anything under a touchdown, I think is an automatic play on the Baltimore Ravens. Flash, Miami is not good, man.
No,
I mean,
I know.
they have Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. He's one of the most inconsistent guys. He'll throw 3 touchdowns one game, 5 interceptions the next game. They traded and picked up Arizona's rookie from last year, Josh Rosen, but he's not ready to play. That's why they're starting Fitzpatrick. Miami's defense doesn't impress me at all. I mean, but the Baltimore, if Lamar Jackson could throw this football accurately, the Baltimore Ravens are the real deal. It all comes down to that kid. Can he throw the ball accurate and make the defense honest?
Yeah, Jace,
if he can.
Jace, I just want to interrupt you there because it's the Baltimore Ravens spots and their numbers that really go against everything I was always taught, because I was always taught don't go anywhere near futures in August and September because injuries and like basically you wait till December, you give up maybe a 2-3 points, and then you can go in if they're still in good shape come December. But the numbers are so big with this Baltimore Ravens side that at 4 to win a division, at 16 to win the AFC, and 34 to get to the Super Bowl. Now, if he does the business, Jackson, they're going to be potentially half them odds on all 3 of their markets come December. Anybody wants to have a little play on Baltimore. Listen, I'm a massive New England Patriots fan, but in my division, in my conference, I see Baltimore screaming value.
I think those are very good odds to win the AFC because the Colts are out of it now, right? Yeah. So who do you got in the AFC?
Well, I've got it down to 3.
You got what's that?
I've got it down to obviously New England because they're New England.
Of course.
Kansas, who may not be as dominant, but in numbers, but I still think that they're on the upgrade.
And then who's your third team? The Chargers?
No, my third team's Baltimore. Kansas, Baltimore, New England.
I think it's those 5 teams.
Oh, you're throwing the Steelers
Kansas City, New England, the Chargers, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
It's one of those teams now that the Colts are out of it, right?
Yeah.
So at those odds, the risk is worth the reward because if that kid takes a legitimate step forward in his sophomore year, you are live to win the AFC.
Yeah, 100%. And then you can hedge. Because, I mean, if they get to the AFC Championship game, you're looking at having 16-1 shot one side. And unless they play against New England, I mean, you're just going to have a free run. And you could always... there's so much value.
If they win their division, that 16-1 is going to be 8-1.
And you remember, without a doubt, but you'd already cashed. You'd already cashed plus 300 because they're plus 300 to win that division in the first place. I'm just saying if they get on a roll, and listen, after week 4 or 5, they could be halved in price, especially if Jackson's on the move. Now, here's one I can see over your shoulder. Here's one that I was probably one of my favourite plays. You've probably left it alone because of your heart. But I've gone New York Jets, -3 at home to Buffalo, +3, both at 190, 1.9, -110. I just think the Jets put up, shut up. I think that they'll deliver a winning season and come second and maybe have a wild card chance in the AFC East.
You know, Flash, I'm so beaten down. Like you say, you love the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
I see Tom Brady in my nightmares, bro. Okay.
Well, of course.
I mean, you know, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I want to say the Jets are a better side than the Bills. Okay. But it's a toss-up. You want to know what I think the play is in that game? The under. I don't understand why that total went from 38.5 to right now it is 40.5. You know, this is a field goal fest.
Yeah.
Both these teams are gonna move the ball between the 20s, and they have no red zone offense. Okay, maybe because the Jets picked up Le'Veon Bell, maybe they'll get in more than I think they will. But to me, I see them moving the ball up and down the field and kicking field goals. I do not understand why the public is on the over in this game. I don't see it. I think it goes under 40.5.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it doesn't. I just hope that the Jets put a smile on their fans' faces. I said yesterday I was lucky enough to.
Right.
Well, I was lucky enough to go on Jimmy the Bag show yesterday, and we talked NFL, and I just said, forget about everything that's gone in the closet for the Jets. Just forget about it. They are the number 2 in their 4-man division. Okay, but that's just because they've got a freak above them. But they've now put money where they've tried to put the past behind them. You can only do that by going and winning your first game at home. Soft spot for me against Buffalo. Can't have Buffalo on my mind.
Buffalo, agree. Very winnable.
Oh yeah, Buffalo in December, -15, -20. Then we'll maybe see them get a few W's. But until then, I'm going to probably steer clear or fade them. Jace, I think we should make this a regular spot every Friday. What do you reckon?
Flash, I love how much you know about American football. Now you're making me feel like I got to go learn about soccer now.
No, there's no need. But the thing is, remember, football, American football. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, you call them the world champions.
Yes.
So if you call them the world champions, that must mean that everyone in the world knows about it.
That's true.
Well,
I'll do this with you every Friday. No problem, my friend.
That's it. We'll fit it in, no problem. Jace, you take care. May all your bets be big ones. And I tell you what, let's beat up on Miami.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Jace, thanks, mate. I'll speak to you soon.
You got it.
Okay, that was Jason. He was helping me out there with NFL Week 1, 100th anniversary of the NFL, 50th in the recent campaign. Coming up, I'm doing some homework tomorrow. I'm actually going to be working from home, doing the Hangouts, and we're going to cover the 2020 European Championships games for Sunday, Monday, and maybe even Tuesday. No day off for the Flashman. See you soon.